I think the vast majority of people who say I want the best version of this card would pick their favorite artwork, and that may or may.
Oh, I think they'd pick the most expensive and sought after one.
Whoa! Welcome to MTZBWY with you, America's most favorite MTG plus whatever new TCG Louis finds that week podcast. I'm, of course, joined by the man, Lorcana's top content creator, Josh!
Wait, how many Lorcana videos have you done?
Doesn't matter, Sorcery Boy, relax. I am also joined...
I have more Lorcana than Sorcery or Magic this week.
Yeah, it's your new...
You haven't done any videos.
I know, I was on vacation. I don't know what to tell you.
It'll also be One Piece next week. Like, you... I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. I'm just saying. You get around.
I thought I was going to be the Lorcana content creator. I've been trying hard to be a Sorcery content creator, but the boxes are too good. It's too hard.
Why would that make this... Like, what? I am also joined by One Piece's #1 newest fan, Louis DeGeorge.
Oh, man. All right, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. We're so glad you're all here.
You're going to show us your One Piece collection?
I have zero. Actually... That's funny. I actually have One Piece right there.
What is your favorite
open the pack.
One Piece?
It's a promo pack. You want me to open a promo pack?
Open the pack.
I'm saving it for the One Piece section. I'll save it for the One Piece section.
Great. Everybody stick around. For all you One Piece fans that you've never talked about the podcast before, make sure you stick around for the One Piece section.
All right. So welcome back to the podcast, everyone. It's been a week for me. And also these two, I think that's what I've heard. But we're going to talk about lots of stuff this week. We're going to be talking about Wilds of Eldraine to 1K. We're going to talk about Rudy's Rumors. I know. Look at us. So original. We're going to say, what? No bounties on Whatnot? How are you going to sell all your crappy packs? We're going to do Lorcana release week. We're going to talk about the market stalling for Sorcery. We're going to talk about the 4th best TCG in the world, or America. I think it's America. We're going to talk about the 4th.
America is the world. America is the world. How dare you?
We're going to talk about the 4th best TCG and how freaking wrong we have always been on the podcast. So
we weren't wrong. We never said One Piece wasn't or wouldn't be successful.
Let's get talking about Wilds of Eldraine. So I put my orders in today. I bought all my Wilds. Yeah, they shipped today, George. I was the only person. My rep told me that I was the only person that called this week and asked for boxes. He was like, I guess people just don't care.
Wait, they ship tomorrow for me.
Mine shipped today, so sucks to be you.
Oh, you have 3 day shipping. You have an extra day shipping because you're in the middle of nowhere.
It's 2 day. 2 days.
Really?
I'll have it Friday. We'll probably be streaming. I'll probably stream Friday night because I'm stuck in the house for 5 days. So
why are you stuck in the house? Do you have COVID?
No, my wife can't, she doesn't get vacations. So whenever we go, we went on a 4-day trip to my mom's house. That was our vacation. Whenever we take days, whenever we go somewhere, she has to just bump all of her days wide. So she's working the next 5 days. So I'm stuck at the house with the kiddos. So I'll get them to sleep.
So
open Wilds of Eldraine. So what?
Can we restart this podcast? What's going on right now?
Why?
No, nothing. This is great. This is riveting content. Continue. This is great.
You asked the question.
I regret that. I regret that immensely.
I don't. I love it. I'm in.
It's a great story.
But the point was that they have tons of Wilds left.
Are you going to sell the movie rights to that story?
To you? Sure.
Oh, great.
I have a far more riveting question for both of you gentlemen before we get into Wilds of Eldraine. There's a viral clip going around that claims our very own, our beloved, our shining star, future guest on the podcast, Taylor Swift, is better than Beyonce.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Million. That was your better question.
Hold on. Hold on.
Maybe we should restart this podcast.
And they claim, the viral clip claims, the only comparison that you can make to Taylor Swift is Michael Jackson.
So, all right, let's get into this. This is the topic y'all came for anyway.
They don't compare at all.
I love
Taylor
Tay-Tay.
Swift's way better.
That's crazy talk, but I love Tay-Tay. But Michael Jackson's fame at its peak was something that we can never experience again as a culture because there's just too many options.
People literally trampled one another to watch a 40-year-old man scoot backwards.
Yes.
It's crazy.
I don't know, man.
Like my favorite example of this is like Magic Johnson invited Michael Jackson to go to a Laker game one time because he wanted to punish him apparently by having Will watch the Lakers, and they had to eventually like pause the game to get Michael Jackson out of there because there was basically a riot to go be near him.
It's
like
crazy.
Tay-Tay is famous. I'm not sure she's riot while watching a basketball game famous.
I think listen, I'm in the Tay-Tay beats Beyonce and is slightly below Michael Jackson.
I didn't realize you hated Tay-Tay so much, George.
I love Tay-Tay. But like Michael Jackson,
I think there's some recency bias. There's a little bit of disrespect throwing her past Beyonce that quickly. I don't disagree that she's past Beyonce, but I think it deserves more of a conversation than
Beyonce. Let's go.
Like, listen, Beyonce's got some great albums.
I mean, listen, Queen Bee. Queen Bee.
But you gotta do more stuff. You gotta have more albums.
She's below the King of Pop, above the Queen Bee.
I'm drawing the line. I was okay with
One Piece boy. Relax. All right, we can talk about every new TCG you Google this week. We can talk about Tay-Tay for 5 minutes.
It's a TCG podcast. That's what it is.
Yeah. I don't think so. It's a Tay-Tay podcast. That's
Cruises.
Taylor conquers games. Boom. Taylor conquers games. The podcast.
There's the name of the podcast. Okay, so Wilds of Eldraine.
Did you also hear that she might have turned down the Super Bowl halftime?
I sent you that.
I
All right,
she would never do that.
Ready for the hot take?
They can't afford her.
It's a psycho.
No. Bingo. Josh wins. It's going to happen.
Cool.
The old
That's my prediction.
Can we talk
Louis,
about
what do you think about Tay-Tay doing the halftime show? What do you think will be her first song?
About TCGs. That's all I want to do.
No, you don't. You
want to talk about TCG.
Nobody believes
you want to talk about
That's
TCG.
I do. I want
to talk about One Piece. I just Googled it.
About Wilds of Eldraine and why everyone's hyped on it.
But so let me ask you this. You own a store. We're coming off people having to spend a ton of money on Magic. People are a little cool, we'll call it right now, because of Commander Masters. Are you, as a store owner, excited about Wilds of Eldraine?
So I had people who didn't buy Commander Masters, and their statement was, it's too expensive. I'm saving my money for Wilds of Eldraine. So I am personally not that worried about like the financial side about Wilds. It's also a standard price product that has some extra stuff in it that people are excited about. I think the excitement level is about the same level as like March of the Machine. That's what, like, it seems like the same.
Really?
That, yeah. Like there was a group of people who were really interested in it and a group of people who was like, it's not for me. I think the big difference is the lack of any real chase in the set. Is like there's no serialized cards. The confetti foils are, I don't know, like they've done so many different versions of foiling. Like look at the Lord of the Rings Surge foils. They just kind of fell flat. Like nobody really got that excited about them.
I thought some of them are really expensive.
No, like I just sold the one I got. I think it was I don't remember what it was, but I sold for like $200. Like it's just not, for as rare as they are, like the price cratered. They were $800 on release, and then nobody bought them on eBay. Nobody
prices
bought them
fall after release day. We should talk about that when it gets closer to release day.
No, but like they aren't the same. They're not in the same realm as a serialized card.
Yeah, I mean, like serialized cards, like. There's a reason sports is stuck with serialized cards and not 15 different kinds of confetti foiling. Like serialized cards work.
Yeah.
Like part of me is like, I don't understand why WotC won't just suck it up and do it every set.
Well, I think they're afraid of overdoing it. If you have a new set every month, that's too many serialized cards, and now you're serialized.
They don't have a new set every month, and like
basically,
it's pretty close.
It's every
pretty
6
close.
weeks. It's 50% more than that. But like much more importantly, like so what? Like people love serialized cards. It's like the market has kind of spoken on this.
But like the market has every time there's more serialized cards that come out, it is devaluing the brand of serialized cards.
That's not true.
I disagree
that is not
with that.
true. Like there's no way to support that.
You disagree with me or you disagree with George?
I disagree with you. I don't think
you don't think that the hype for Brothers War serialized cards is less now that we've had March of the Machine and Lord of the Rings serialized cards. That there's less people looking for Brothers of War serialized cards.
I think there's less people looking for Brothers War serialized cards right now because people are spending their money on new pillar products for 2023. Like Brothers War serialized cards dropped, people were all over them, and the only time the market has slowed down, or at least since I've been chasing them, is when people spent all their money on Lord of the Rings, and then, again, Commander Masters did sell at a decent number. Like, we don't agree with the price. It didn't sell at a good price for game stores, but the number of boxes that moved was still pretty good. So I think people are spending their money on these other things. I don't think they're, for all the hooting and hollering about buying singles, I don't think they're doing it. I think people are buying boxes.
Interesting. Does it? I think like the excitement for serialized cards. What we said was this is the first serialized card. Could you imagine somebody gets all 50 of the serialized cards, whatever it was, for Brothers War? Like, where is that excitement? Like,
I think it's still in the same pockets of people where it would have settled eventually. I don't think the hype would have carried this long had they never introduced another serialized card, or had they only done them in the, what is it? They're giving them away at various conventions where you get a chance at getting a pack with like a serialized special card in it or something like that. Even if they only did that, I think that it would have fallen into the same pockets of collectors that exist now.
Like, Sheeler cards have won. Like, I don't think there's any real way to like.
I'm not saying that they have. I'm not saying that adding serialized cards into Wilds of Eldraine wouldn't have been a benefit, but I understand why they aren't doing it in every set, because it devalues. And my point is, it devalues the brand of serialized cards.
I don't think it does. Like, I mean, like, do you think like having serialized cards for 20 years in sports has meant people don't want it in sports? I don't see that.
Well, but I think I've always disagreed with the sports comparison a little bit. Like, there's a lot of similarities to me, but isn't sports like the thing is you have like the connection to the person, you have a favorite player or a favorite team, and you want that. And in Magic, we've argued you don't have like the favorite clan or the favorite like, tribe or things like that. Like, you don't connect that way.
But you want the best card of your favorite player, and most of the time for every recent player, it's been a serialized card in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm. Sure, but like, I don't think that part translates.
If you want the best version of a Magic card, it's going to be the serialized version.
See, I think most people disagree with that, George. I think the vast majority of people who say I want the best version of this card would pick their favorite artwork, and that may or may.
Oh, I think they'd pick the most expensive and sought after one.
Yeah, that's serialized.
Yeah,
I think you guys are. I don't know. I think you guys are just. I think that's wrong.
I mean, like Mishra's Bauble is a very popular card.
Yeah,
and for a serialized card, it's also very expensive. If you were to pick someone and be like, "Hey, of all the Mishra's Baubles out there, what do you want?" They're gonna pick the serialized.
Well,
like 100%.
If it's just free, they're going to take the most expensive. Of course they are. But like, my point is,
it's most expensive because more people want it. Like, it's
more expensive because the supply is 500. George, there's supply and demand. It's not just demand.
But like, people want it more, so they're willing to pay more. If people weren't willing to pay more because they didn't care about the little number, it wouldn't matter. But it's more expensive because more people want it.
You can get the schematic in foil, right? Without the little number on it, the same treatment, the same card, essentially, without the little number on it, you can get that.
And the price difference is probably enormous.
It's massive.
Yeah, of course.
Between the serialized and a non-serialized, of course it is.
Well, like,
because there's only 500 of the serialized.
Right.
But that's like that draws you in, though.
But like the I'm trying to say that, like, when you say somebody who loves Mishra's Bauble, if they are a huge fan, they want to put that in their deck, and there's a dynamic of inability to afford a $1,100 cards for your deck. That's what Mishra's Bauble is.
Wow.
Well,
really?
Yeah. Last sold is 700. Sorry.
Isn't that like really a cheap card, a non serialized card.
It's a $4 card in its other version.
Before its recent a couple reprints, it was really expensive. I think I bought them for Storm at like $40 or something. It was crazy.
That was a big print in Double Masters.
The difference in my opinion, between Magic, Serialized, and Sports is that the demographic who wants a serialized card is far smaller in Magic. Like,
well, that's true today, but
it just started.
But I mean, like that used to be like, I remember very clearly when Sports started Serialized, we were like, who would ever care about this? And now it's like, that is how we interact with the hobby. Like,
right, but in Magic, you interact with, I think Serialized, if you ask a collector, if you ask an investor or collector who loved Mishra's Bauble, which one they wanted, they would go with the Serialized one. But from a large standpoint of the average consumer pulls a serialized card and looks at it and says, oh, I can sell this to buy another booster box. That's their answer. The average consumer doesn't care about serialized cards. It's just a lottery ticket for them.
And you don't think the average sports fan pulls a serialized sports card and thinks, I can just sell this? Like, I made a meal ticket?
I don't know anything about the average sports fan. I just took what George said and about that everybody just chasing the serialized cards in sports.
People want serialized cards. I mean, to me, every set should have serialized cards at this point. Every set should. Every set should. And again, they've got to get better at numbering. There's no reason every card should be out of this astronomical number. Make 500, make out of 250, make 50, make 10, make 5, make 1.
I guess what I was leaning towards is that if you want serialized cards to be special and actually be huge chases, they need to have different artwork. Like that. That
would be better.
We always come back to that. That would be an improvement. Yeah. We all agree.
Yeah.
But even without it, right? I mean, again, you just talked about Mishra's Bauble from the Brothers War. It's got the exact same artwork as the one without the little number stamp on it, and there's a massive price difference on an iconic card.
That's way more expensive than I expected for that card.
Oh,
way more.
You look at things, the ones that are playable in Commander, Ramos Dragon Engine, or that one's that's insane. Door to Nothingness is starting to go up there because it's played in Modern. It's one of those cards that sits out in your sideboard. You can have a serialized copy. You never have to shuffle it in your deck. It's just a card target. Like stuff like that it's a really iconic time in Magic, and I think this is here to stay. And I think Louis, I'm a little confused on your serialized card take because we often say, what are we worried about with Wilds of Eldraine? The one concern, and we share this, is that the confetti foil and the special foiling doesn't move the needle for us with Wizards of the Coast anymore, right? Like the textured and raised foil, we don't do it. But we're like, if this had serialized cards, it would be better. I think we're going to say that with every set that doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not saying, again, I'm responding to George's take that there should be a serialized card in every set. I think if you do that,
what set shouldn't have it? What set?
Louis, what I just said is we're going to see sets that don't have it. We're going to say this would be better with it. Like Commander Masters, be better with serialized cards, right?
It would have saved the set. It would have saved the set if they had serialized cards.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Like the Jeweled Lotus serialized would have gone for jarring amounts of money.
Sorry, Louis. Go ahead.
My point is, I agree with you that serialized cards move the needle right now, but Wizards looks at the product and they say, will this, I think they looked at Commander Masters and they felt like the cards within Commander Masters, they didn't need the gimmick of a serialized card.
Spoiler alert, you did.
Right.
And so they just got that wrong. And I think that they feel like if they put too many serialized cards into the market, it will devalue the serialized card. I think if you look at what we used to chase was a mythic foil. It used to be about 1 in every 6 boxes. There was a mythic. Oh my
God! All right,
Grandpa, my friend. Before that, there was no mythic. You just chased rare foils, buddy.
Right. And what I used to chase was mythic foils, and those were not the price that a serialized card was, but some of them had significantly high prices.
Yeah, they were coveted for sure.
$200, $300, dollars. And the pull rate for a serialized card is very similar in the collector boxes to 1 per 6 boxes. It's really 1 per 8 or 9 that we've been finding with a lot of the serialized cards. But if you do too much of that, then this just becomes the next foil mythic, and all of a sudden you have 15,000 different serialized cards, and there's not enough of a demand for people who want to spend $400 or $500 for serialized cards because they're not that special anymore. and then the prices drop on them.
Do you think there's something to, you and I often say, like, your average Magic fan is not tuned in, right? And when they pull a foil mythic, you and I let's go back in the day, Louis, back to our heyday. We'd pull a foil mythic and we'd be like, oh, there's probably only so many of these out there, right? It's like, because it's so rare, it's one essentially in a case. The average Magic fan probably didn't interact with it. Now there's a stamp on the card that says, hey, there's this many out there and you have one of them. I'm yelling at you, it's special. So there's no chance of like missing that.
Even like the secret layers that you were talking about earlier, their whole packaging is like all big text. This is one special. Of 600, whatever. Like that's
So I think I don't think it's possible for it to trace to the point of, or even close to, the old foil mythics, because there's literally a giant sign like smacking you in the face. You treat this different, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I just think they have to be careful at how much they put. I think they are intentionally being careful at how many serialized cards they put into the market.
It's also new. Like this is going to change in the next year.
And the Brothers War ones,
change, but I know it will.
But let's be straight about it. Like, this was a change for them, and we saw it in quality. The Brothers War serialized cards are rough. Like, that specific run of cards, for some reason, has damage, lines, like misprints. Like, that's a rough run of cards. They clearly had to change the process. So I wonder how much of it is, process refinement and fixing that and figuring it out.
Yeah. So what is in Wilds of Eldraine that's going to demand any premium to the product? Because the
people were hyped about the set. What did I miss? People were loving this set when we talked last week.
So the set is good, and I think the reprints are good. One of the issues
people were telling me that was going to be a great set. What the hell did I miss?
Well,
it's pretty cheap already.
As I tend to do, George, I started looking at the numbers compared to other products. Did you gaslight me? Not at all. Although that would have been a really cool, like, Louis, if we ever want to do that and you want to talk and we'll set something up, I'm in. That would be great.
You guys did to me.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was on your side.
I think the big thing everybody was excited about is the Enchanting Tales.
Oh wow, they're really cheap already.
Yeah. And the problem is that there's an enchanting tale in every single pack of every single product. About?
These aren't the prices I was promised.
So, hot take here. I think I'm very excited about the set. I think we see Strixhaven
that
levels of hype.
Art is GOAT tier. That gingerbread art is like, I love that art.
All the art.
God, the art is so good in this set.
But like the big champion of this set is 100% going to be the set booster box.
Why is that?
So we just went over the fact that we don't believe there's something that's going to move the needle from a collectability or special card standpoint. The Mystical Archive, the Enchanted series of cards, is highly playable in the most popular format from what we've seen so far. There's going to be stuff in there we haven't seen yet, right? But by the time you watch this podcast, they've reduced or put out a bunch of garbage, and I'm going to get crap for that. But the set box is going to have one in every pack, and it's going to have other cards that you want from the set. And there's no reason to chase the super high-end version of these cards. You're going to be able to buy them probably pretty cheap.
Yeah, we looked at the confetti foil pull rate. It's in like 1.7%, which is... That's a hard pull, but the artwork's the same.
That's only in collectors, I'm assuming?
Yeah, It's going to be like this is like Galaxy foils.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as Galaxy foils, which is just like, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's in a real set that's going to get opened in numbers, right?
Yeah.
Like
the Galaxy
Infinity
foils, we just sold a Galaxy foil Shockland. It was like $120. Like, that's still a pretty good, it's still a decent pull. But
I think a Shockland is going to go farther than an enchantment, though. Like that sees played everywhere.
That's good art. Regal Bunnycorn, all the
anime art.
Cookie Man, pretty good.
Yeah,
I like the Cookie Man.
I've heard a lot of criticism of the anime art.
What?
And it's
Well,
like,
I'm not an anime fan, so like,
Wait, what?
we will review.
What?
Hold on to that take. We will review that later. I promise. I've heard a lot of criticism that like, oh, this doesn't really. It was on. Shout out to the MTG Goldfish podcast. Brought it up, and I heard it the first time. They were talking about, yeah, this art is just like they took generic random anime scenes and things and slapped them on cards, and it doesn't have much to do with like the actual card. It's just It was a misunderstanding of applying anime art, and was just like, someone will buy this, I'm sure.
I don't know, man. Like, this seems like the perfect time for them to do like a kid's book.
Oh my god!
And then
Sire Ginger, the meal ender.
This seems like the perfect time where they could have done some sort of kid's book and then pulled and put the graphics into the book and had some like special release, or kind of like what we're getting for the board game for the Clue one. Yeah, something like that. That's like
I'd have read my daughter Magic the Gathering Wilds of Eldraine kids book.
Like, why is that stuff not there? Like, I don't know. It seems like the perfect opportunity to continue to engage. I mean, we're biased because we have kids, but I don't know.
George is like, don't you rope me in with we suckers. I have happiness.
Gingerbread is maybe my favorite art I've ever seen in Magic the Gathering.
Do you see the bottom ability? No. Pay 2 and sacrifice him because he's a food. all the gingerbreads having the pay 2 and sack ability that comes on the food token has always made me giggle. Yeah, it's always made me giggle.
God,
the pay 2 and sack, just like the food token, because they're foods. Oh, it's always made me giggle.
This art's amazing.
I love it.
On this,
this is gonna be listen. This is gonna be a rough set. I talked to my distro today. Like I said, they said nobody had called to try to get product early. And on top of that,
why? I don't want product early. I can't do anything with it.
I mean, you can start.
You're not premium.
Single. You can. Start
I don't open for singles. I don't have a single.
You are not basically not a store, George. Like most stores open product for singles so that their community can buy singles. And there's.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I don't think most stores do that.
True. I was just at a store this weekend in Ohio. Shout out to shout out to Freedom Gaming, who they have a playset of at least a playset of every rare in their display case.
3 blind mice.
From what?
From every standard set. They don't run and they don't play standard. Their Friday Night Magic was Commander. I don't understand it. I would not do that, but
so wait, is their playset just a one of? They have one of every card?
No, they just have they open enough product to have a ton of singles. It's wild.
How are they doing it? Did you get tips? Did you get advice?
No, I didn't. The owner wasn't there. I was talking to a manager.
Did you share stories about how many Brothers War boxes you opened?
Yeah. Anyway, I just feel like this set, and then also distro is basically like, how much more do you want this week?
Well, there's no serialized cards, so the reprint fears. The reprint fears and rumors are going to be plentiful. I'm excited about this set. I think for players, this is a wonderful experience. I'm worried about the price of this set. I think it's going to come down.
Yeah, which is already low. I mean, it's already below 200.
Not the set box though. Set box sitting at 120. I'm telling you, set box makes up for like 65% of all pre-sales so far. So I think
the problem is set boxes need to be at like 120.
They need to be 120.
They need, that's like 2 weeks before release, Josh. Like set boxes need to be at like 125 on TCG Player.
Oh wait, George, are you rolling your eyes at both of us over a $5 price difference? Do you want them to be at 120? Hold on. Do you want them to be at 122.5? Like where
$5 away from success, the Louis DeGeorge story. Let's talk about Pokemon for a minute. $30 away from the victory.
Release, though, like these set boxes with 100.
Magic's in a weird spot. This is essentially going to be the same price as we see for release. Like, there's no reason to pre-order, so there's no rush. I think these prices are going to be pretty steady. Pre-order for Magic's in a weird spot. It's in a weird spot. Like it's 90%. Just, when does the set release? Oh, there's the release date, but it actually releases the week before the release date. Like,
which I think is good. I like that still.
Just make that the release date.
But the problem is, then you get Amazon. Like that's a way to help LGSs.
Well, I mean, they could just have a policy that they
everybody but Gabby B's allowed to sell,
or any big box stores.
I asked my reps if they would price match double or Commander Masters this week to eBay and TCG Player. They said one of the prices. I sent them a screenshot. I knew they wouldn't do it. I was just toying with them.
You've got to be a hit. A hit with your
what do you want me
distributors.
to do? I was going to order boxes on eBay. I'd rather buy from them. But, it's wild. It's crazy. All right.
Your application is going to be great for the next hot set.
You're wild. You don't have to worry about Wilds of Eldraine, buddy. You'll be great.
Let's talk about George's bounty talk. So he actually contributes a little bit here.
I thought we were talking about Rudy.
Yeah.
We just all right. We want to talk about Rudy?
No, Rudy. I'd rather talk about myself than Rudy. That's a good call.
You can go to my channel. I'm doing a Rudy video.
No, member only video. Go become a member of Josh's. $5. That's all it takes to see that video.
I love that I added you to the board. I love that I added you to the board.
Screw that Big Mac. You're too fat already. Go give that $5 to Josh. Become a member, and he will have a special member-only video this Friday.
Louis, add George to your board.
No.
This is what happens.
No. He'll come asking for money at some point, Josh.
I'm sure. I'm never going to pay him. I'm just never going to pay him.
George has never said no to money.
Like, you can ask.
Okay. So Rudy put out a video this week that was talking about...
Wait, what? You're stepping on Josh's member toes.
Are we doing video? Are we doing Rudy?
What? These hypothetical...
No, I'm down.
So Whatnot got rid of bounties.
Okay.
I thought we were doing Rudy. I can't keep up with you both.
Gosh,
this is the worst podcast of all time.
Stay strong.
It's not. It's a public video. That one's a public video, buddy.
All right.
You just lied.
No bounties.
What?
Whatnot got rid of bounties.
All right. So Whatnot had some big policy changes in light of some recent activities.
Scammers.
And
assholes.
Blake not looking like he's getting a contract with another streamer.
It's been 2 months. It's been like a week. Gotta relax.
It's been more than a week.
It's been like a month.
It's a pretty big gap.
So the big change is that they said they will not allow any more bounties. And so for those of you who don't go on Whatnot, first of all,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Than we are.
No, I'm not on Whatnot. You don't buy things on Whatnot.
I don't buy these Whatnot. I love Whatnot streams. I love watching Whatnot streams.
What kind of person goes to Whatnot streams and doesn't? You're not there to buy anything.
I could watch Backyard Break Sports all day long and just hate watch it until my heart's content. Love it. I love it.
YouTube.com/KitchenTableTCG. You can get a lot of that done.
But they're way more entertaining, and they stick with one thing versus this week One Piece, next week Sorcery. Then we got to throw in some Lorcana. Where's Legions at? Where's Genesis? I got to get them all in. Where's Cryptic at?
You only get Magic unless you're a member at Patreon.com/KitchenTableTCG. In which case, you get the whole kit and caboodle.
Oh, that makes sense. And so
nothing that has been spoken about anything on this podcast has been true today.
I like how we all know that's not untrue. It's not untrue. Might not be fully true, but it's not untrue. So Whatnot said no more bounties. And for those of you who don't know what that means, the way this worked is there's a few different ways to handle this. The most common way is if you do a certain thing, you get a prize. So for TCGs, in like Magic's case, it was usually whatever card has the most mana cost gets a free pack, box, alpha card, whatever. For Pokemon, it was if you pulled a super rare Charizard, I'll give you a free box. Something along those lines. Sports, it got a little crazier. So like Backyard Breaks this week has, if you hit the 1/1 Josh Purdy card, they'll buy it from you for $150,000. Like they got in right underneath the buzzer of the no bounty rule, which starts like literally the day after that stream. So I'm very proud of them.
So what happens if they pull it on pack 3?
What do you mean? That person is $150,000.
They're just out.
What does that mean?
Like they just have to buy the card for $150,000 and then they just lose.
Well, it's a 1/1. So like
right. I know the odds are terrible, but I mean
it's front of the line boxes. It's not that terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, they're rare boxes.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, one of two things will happen, in my opinion. Either viewers are going to go to other platforms, eBay Live, Drip, etc.
Blake's not getting a contract. Stop trying to talk your way into it.
Or
I can't wait till eBay Live comes out on top on this, and I get to rub that in your face every day, because for the last 2 years,
so far their biggest break has been Tanner. And
eBay Live's on that MetaZoo track. They're just going to keep announcing it, huh?
And they're going to change the entire industry. If Drip and eBay Live follow suit and they say no more bounties, which I think is possible. Like, I don't think this is like, they have to be terrified of lawsuits. They have to be.
So
like, if that happens, I don't think, my gut is that many people who view this podcast don't understand how much of a shift this will be in the TCG marketplace.
Well,
Whatnot is how an incredible amount of people engage with the hobby.
It's kind of wild.
They don't listen to bozos on the podcast. They don't go to their LGS. They tune in to a stream. They have
don't
a
play
favorite
the game.
streamer. They don't play the game. They tune into a
Are they
stream.
buying the cards then?
They
Do they collect the game?
Addicted, and it's gambling.
They're
That's
addicted
why
to
they buy
bounties?
No,
Yeah.
George,
Well,
don't
no.
pretend like that's not the reality. They are
Not a thing.
addicted,
No.
and
I mean, all three of us are here every week for very
so
little
some
gain
people
other
are-
than to be addicted. So
some people are actually ridiculously good at it. Like I've followed a couple of people just because you see them in the Discord server always selling cards. I'm like, how do you get those cards? And I bought cards from them before, and they are like, oh, I got it from Whatnot. And then you start seeing them, you're like, oh my gosh. And then they're like, oh, I got that card for $10. And they game the system of when they buy the packs based on what else has been opened in the box.
this seems like the guy at the roulette
No.
table that's got a system.
Yes, absolutely.
They do.
I gamed the TCG boxes.
They do.
Stop it.
Shout out the dentist system. That's the roulette system you want to follow.
I gamed the TCG
They do.
system. They don't. They
They
don't. They
do.
think they do. They think they do.
They definitely think they do.
Yeah, they don't.
They might.
This is going to really hinder demand for a lot of things if other platforms follow suit. Like, this will absolutely affect collector boxes, I think. This will absolutely affect Pokemon boxes, I think.
So let me ask, do you think collector
will hit?
That's
Do you
what we
think
needed,
other people
was,
follow suit?
Less demand for Pokemon.
Well, it's GOAT. It's GOAT. Pokemon's
That's
totally GOAT. You can tell by Card Shop Live selling them about $7 below our cost.
Me being all in on Lorcana and you abandoning Pokemon like a dog with three legs is something we did not see coming this year.
Yeah, you.
I'm not banning Pokemon. I continue to buy way too much Pokemon.
Are you going to make a video about it stored in a bathroom?
No.
Oh.
I have actual storage.
Yeah, really.
Look at my office. I need some of that.
There's a bathroom right there that has stuff in it.
Listen, I think this is.
You're the best, dude.
I think this is the biggest card news in a long time.
So,
this is going to shake up the way. This has the potential to kill an entire community of buyers.
this will be interesting for sealed product because we talked about this with the 101 ring in Canada a couple weeks in a row now, where they the Canadian government was essentially like, this is going to be a problem. It's gambling. I think Whatnot will survive, and those companies will because the streamers will just move to other things like poll games. Like with the bounty stuff was pretty popular until they changed poll games, and then the poll games were pretty popular until they changed it, and then people went to bounties, and people are going to redirect back to, you don't think?
I don't think it'll be allowed.
Yeah, I was about to say, what's
allowed then? So what is Whatnot?
They basically said no duck races, none of that stuff anymore.
So what do you do on Whatnot? You just
buy packs, and they same thing you do on YouTube when you buy a box for someone and they open it from you. It's buy a pack from them and they open it for you.
Mm-hmm. So that's gonna be that stuff's not fun. Like people that stuff is not as fun as Whatnot with all the games and the gambling.
Yeah.
So that stuff they just won't sell stuff.
Right. Like I think this is
that's what you're saying. Yeah.
This is really, I think this could really change the industry.
I think it doesn't land with us though, because I'm not a big Whatnot, or I don't buy stuff on Whatnot except for when a friend is streaming and I'll go support the friend. I think the reason this isn't landing for us at any kind of real weight is because I don't think any of us are really big Whatnot buyers. We don't chase down those bounties. So when you say it's going to change the game, that's hard for us to digest.
One of my customers, I guess former customers, honestly, is a big Whatnotter.
Okay.
He hasn't bought from me in a couple of years. But like, he used to come to me all the time for like, I need Pokemon, I need Magic, I need all these things.
Okay.
And like,
and he would then stream on.
And I said, but he's going to be closed. That's my gut.
Really?
I don't know that, but like, I mean, he called me basically in tears.
That's wild. Yeah, I mean, it's going to change.
What do you do? Like, he's like, I went from getting $300 for an Obsidian Flames box, which is $90.
Yeah.
To like, now I got to sell it for $90. I can't buy it for $90. I don't have distro.
Right.
I can't buy it for $90, and I do have distro, basically. So like
no argument for me there. It's going to change those streamers and the way they exist for sure.
The trick is like he has a community. He has 200 people that follow him whenever he's on. He's cracking pats, et cetera, et cetera. So like,
do you think he takes it elsewhere?
Well, he's going to try. He's going to try to go to Drip. But like, listen, I think Drip's going to follow suit, is my guess. I don't think you could I don't think Drip and eBay Live won an arms race of gambling.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Yeah,
especially like not like the government.
Also, Whatnot
looking at this.
Whatnot canceled it for a reason, right? Because theoretically, if this is driving all these sales, it's also good for Whatnot. So Whatnot canceled this thing for some reason. Either they have knowledge of something coming down, they're starting to get the feelers, or there's just a lot of risk behind it. These other programs and other platforms that you're saying are going to cancel this, they're probably going to do it for the same reason. They're going to just not do it.
All this stuff is incredibly high risk for the people who invest their time into building a platform on these things. It's just like, I mean, the best comparison, in my opinion, would be crypto. Like you are high risk because the government or another entity can do something that essentially stops this from being a lucrative platform in which you can do business. And it's a little bit like everybody who's doing it knows that is a little bit off, right? Like the games work because it's fun. You're paying a premium for the higher risk involved and whatever. And like, I think people have always kind of understood that. And that's why there's such a desire to get as much out of it. And why you have the scams that are going on with a lot of it, because they know
not anymore. He's banned.
Yeah. I agree with you, George.
I think everyone's going to follow suit. There's also like an open question of like, does Whatnot have an obligation to make this right for people?
I think they do.
So like, I think they have a moral responsibility to do so. They might have a legal responsibility to do so.
Hold on, dig into that a little bit. When you say people, do you mean the streamers or the people purchasing?
The people who got scammed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, clearly,
how far back does that go?
Bingo. I was about to say, like, that's, and how do you track it all?
And also, like, again, like I've always said, it's like, TCGs are a problem for them. Sports are an enormous problem for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have no doubt Backyard Breaks will pay their bounty if they hit it. But like, what if they didn't?
Right.
Does now Whatnot have to step in with $150,000 for a card that it doesn't know what to do with?
Right.
God, we could have been doing this all along. May the zoo be with you, bounties.
I mean, like,
we should really have bingo.
Like they have, like Whatnot has. I think Whatnot realized like the risk reward of this was getting out of balance, because it started off as like a add-on, right? If you do this thing, you'll get this free thing. It's cool. It's fun. Yeah. But over time, the market won, and everything became bounties.
Yeah, it got
bounties dominated Whatnot.
Yeah, it got too out of hand.
Well, you couldn't stream without it, right?
No, it's worthless.
There's no point.
The concern from a LGS perspective is, does this decrease the demand for boxes, and thus they don't readjust the supply, and then everything just kind of tanks because there's too much demand.
I mean, I think that's possible.
Those who are spending the ridiculous amount of money on packs for the stuff won't have the same itch and going to their store, a local store, and buying stuff, because it's not the gambling premium that we see on Whatnot. Like, that's the risk.
I mean, like, I don't want to be hyperbolic here, but I guess I will be. Like, will this lead to a collectibles recession? This is the way a ton of people interact with the hobbies.
Yeah,
and that market's going to be hurting.
So I get that, but isn't another reason that everybody interacts with this because they have a connection to the breaker, and if the average
shut up, Blake.
The average breaker, can't they move to another platform that doesn't have, like, couldn't they do something?
Right,
like
ready for the hot take? You ready for the biggest winner in this? I bet
YouTube.
TikTok.
Yeah, because
TikTok will be the big winner in this.
How will TikTok win, though?
TikTok will have streams. They will take over, and God bless, they will absolutely fly that YOLO flag.
TikTok does not care one bit about getting 10% of the marketplace transactions in TCG. And
I disagree entirely. Their whole push is TikTok store because they want to increase their valuations. Like that, like their whole thing is trying to become an e-com platform.
Listen, you are again thinking that the collectible card business is.
I'm not thinking the collectible card market's that big.
The sports card market's that big.
That's included in the collectible card market.
Nobody else says that. Like, there's a reason Fanatics is a huge company now. Like,
Fanatics?
I think Fanatics.
They do way more than cards.
Right.
Way more people interact. Way more people interact with sports by buying jerseys or memorabilia than they do in buying sports cards.
Sure. I agree.
Infinitely more.
I don't know what infinitely more means.
Like the average sports fan, the average basketball fan doesn't collect basketball cards.
That's a fair statement, yeah.
But like there's a ton of basketball fans, even ones that are foolish enough to think LeBron James is a GOAT.
I just don't think TikTok cares about putting
it's a huge it's an easy market for them to tackle at this point.
I think TikTok would be a weird one. Whatnot was always so convenient because of the payment and shipping promise you felt as a consumer. Like, right, when I was able to pay on Whatnot, when I go on TikTok, it's going to be like, hey, donate me $5.
No. They have a payout. They have a store now.
Oh, do they?
George is saying that TikTok.
I don't TikTok.
I think the real winners in this are the people who are already doing it on TikTok, YouTube, and the other platforms. Now
eBay Live. Shout out to Tanner.
Now they won't have the competition that was people's eyeballs on Whatnot. And instead their eyeballs will go to another platform looking for it.
Yeah, but I thought we said earlier those platforms are going to regulate. George is then saying
YouTube can't regulate me doing a box break. They can't regulate that. There's no way for them to regulate it. I have a separate payment processing. Like, why are you scrunching your eyes like that?
If you could not run a gambling site on your YouTube channel, like they would absolutely shut you down.
So if the government comes in and says that box breaks are gambling, but then the whole thing is screwed. It's not just online.
Listen,
the whole ecosystem. The whole thing is screwed.
One of the winners in this, I think, is honestly card games. I think it might lead about some bumpy roads ahead, but I also think like they were flying awfully close to the sun with this stuff.
So you're saying the whole thing will have to change. We can't have randomized packs anymore.
I don't know. I'm saying like
that would suck.
Talk about hyperbolic.
That would kill it. That would kill it for me. I think.
Let's say that's not the point. That doesn't get to that point, and it just gets to the point.
But there's a reason nobody does that. They all do bounties because people want bounties. Like there's a reason people wanted that.
If it wasn't randomized cards, if it was just like you buy a box, you get the same cards every single time. Cards in a box, that kind of game, that would kill like the hobby for me.
Yeah, for sure. That would kill stores.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like, listen, I don't think that's likely, but like, I think this kind of thing makes that way less likely to occur. I think like this is like the further away you get from this kind of bad behavior, the better off you are if you're Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and Cryptic and One Piece and Lorcana and Sorcery and Genesis.
Okay.
And Legions.
Would you guys like to move on from this?
And Poliwag.
Okay.
Metazoo.
Let's talk about Lorcana release. Crazy.
Josh, as the Lorcana content creator, what were your thoughts on it?
I could not have foreseen how bitten I was going to get by this bug, and it is all.
So it's all. Love it. I love it.
It's 100% about exactly what we talked about. My wife, who, God bless her soul, scoffs at my TCGs. And like, it's probably the only reason she'd ever consider leaving me is because I'm that much of a loser and nerd with a basement full of cardboard. Like,
wow. There's worse reasons.
She has been like, yeah, I'll play a game with you of this. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in. Like my daughter was, I sent you guys a picture. My daughter was watching Lion King and she was sitting there like perched up
this week too because
watching the Lion King. And all I could think is like, oh, I'm getting her hooked. Like I'm gateway TCGing her to Magic the Gathering, and this is the plan of attack, and I'm doing it.
I have a question.
I love it.
Are you saying that like the world's largest IP could be a boost for TCG?
Now it still can be mishandled. Boo boo.
Sure, that wasn't my question.
Still,
like, do you think that's possible? Like the world's largest IP might help a TCG sell?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, interesting. Good take. I like that take, Josh.
I think I've hit.
Louis, how was your release weekend?
Did anybody say that the world's largest IP wasn't going to help?
Yeah, this is a weird position. I don't think anyone on this podcast
from the person above me on Lorcana for months was
above you. People in the comment section don't know our name, by the way. So who are you talking
Disney
about?
Wasn't going to help it sell product. I said that Ravensburger is a company that has board game experience, and that's different than TCG.
I don't know, man. That CEO sounded like one of the better CEOs I've ever heard when it came to that article.
I missed it. What was that? I missed what you said again.
One of the big points on that is like not shrink wrapping your boxes.
Now
like
that's
things like that
massively
that are
weird.
Big issues in the TCG.
Big issue.
That's a pretty big issue.
It's not a big.
Yes, it is.
Why is it a big issue? Like it's not affecting anything.
It's not a big issue because this product.
If any other game did this,
we would be jumping down their throats.
You are the
like, and also like they might do that in the future. We don't know.
They better do it for Wave 2. Like they better get that crap.
They're not going to do it for Wave 2. I don't think. It comes out in a week.
Listen, this isn't going to matter for the first chapter because this product in the near future will not be collectible. There's going to be so much of this out there. It is like the sealed product is not going to be like, oh my God, look at this box go to the moon. That's my opinion. I have no, but like that's what I feel. No, but yes, in the future, they cannot not shrink wrap their boxes or seal them somehow. You can't have people reaching in and be able to like yoink out a pack.
Yeah,
that's George. That's bad. That's bad. It's okay. It's okay to say it's bad.
It better be fixed.
It needs to be fixed. Yeah, it better be fixed. It's in trouble. It's in trouble.
But like, listen, they watch this podcast for sure because they would not let me, their biggest and most successful content creator, go without support. And I am advising them to fix that issue.
They should become a member on your channel.
Oh my God! Do you think Ravensburger wants to join the board?
Wait, what? Dibs on chairman.
Oh, kick him off. Kick George off.
No, George is not kicked off the board.
Thank God. That's all I have.
I would kick you off my board if Ravensburger needed a seat.
No, I need you to go to bat for me against Ravensburger. They're trying to take me over.
That follows.
They want my followers.
So we had
all 10 of them. They want them.
We had an incredible amount of demand at the store, and I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. The people who played, like on Friday night, I called the store. I was like, "Hey, how's things going?" They're like, "Well, I'm not sure draft's gonna fire," which is always fire. We always fire draft every week. I'm not sure draft's gonna fire because everyone's playing Lorcana. So that was pretty cool. And people really, I mean, the gameplay is really fun, and I think so. I opened some decks to bring on my little vacation with my family, and then I ended up going to a game store because I left them here on accident. I went to a game store and they were doing 1 deck per person limits and 2 packs per person limits. And they said the demand was super the same. And I played with my sister and my mom, and they enjoyed it. My sister played a couple games. They were able to follow it.
I will say, Louis, it's not a great sign that the statement was, we couldn't have possibly imagined the amount of demand we'd have for our Disney product. Like, not a great sign. Not shrink wrapping your boxes, not a great sign. Like these aren't super positives. However, because it's Disney, it's the same with Magic, right? You get more than one chance to make this first impression. You're going to get a long time to let this product marinate with the community, and it is cool. Like, you can tell stories. Opening opening this box speaks to me because whenever I open a Magic box, the reason I fail so much as a Magic box opener is I just tell stories about what the cards make me feel and times in my life and how they're played, and that doesn't play in Magic. But with Lorcana, like, it does that. It just grips your audience, it grips you, and it is a perfect medium to like engage other people that aren't familiar with trading card games. It's perfect.
Would you call it the best box opening of your life?
Wait, that's not the question
I haven't opened my box yet.
Josh, okay, Louis, here's my question for you. I know you've opened a box.
Mm-hmm.
On a range from the best box opening experience you've ever had, so from like Legions to, let's say, Genesis to Cryptic to Sorcery,
Uh-huh.
To
where on that
CN2.
range of best box opening experience ever does it fall, do you think?
Pretty low.
So,
I didn't think there was
Legions
anything
or
that
Genesis
special.
or like...
I didn't
You
think
also
there-
opened one of the most expensive cards and then just were like,
Yeah, but like,
Yeah, you also threw away your most expensive card. Like, oh, it's coming.
oh, this is neat looking. This is different. I wonder what this
You should have
is.
Googled hits
Wait,
before you opened your box.
are you just
No,
the Rudy of
that's
this?
not
You
how
just
I
open
do
boxes
things.
and have no
That is how you
idea.
do things.
That's-
You've seen your box openings for other games.
I do not Google the hits of my boxes. Sometimes I do that for Magic. I do not Google the hits for most games. I like doing a first experience. So I don't think that the foils are very good. The cold foils, they're pretty ugly.
I love the foils.
They're pretty bad.
I love the
there's-
foils.
There's nothing special about like they're like I don't understand. Like it's just a different foiling they're just foils with the whole card's just kind of caked in this like cold foiling thing.
Etched foiling.
Oh, they call it cold foil.
I know.
I think that
won't,
the artwork's fun, the
Don't
story's
deserve
fun.
that title.
I think that the best part about Lorcana is the gameplay. Like I think that's the win.
I mean, like, I think that's a best part of it. The other best part is like, listen,
You and I switching bodies in 2023.
So
It's
good.
just
Listen,
it's the timeline
So
I
good.
didn't expect.
nothing.
wait, Josh, are you gonna start pumping Sorcery?
George, you
can buy beta at joshgrove.gg.
I'm in.
George, you talked about this game being successful initially. The most of the time you talk about this game being successful because of the large amount of Disney collectors who have
No, that's not all what I've said. I said that's part of it. I said that gameplay.
Josh,
I said this
help me.
game. I said this game will live or die by gameplay. I have said that several times.
I just don't. Go ahead, Josh.
I know what you meant. We've had conversations off this podcast. I think you made it very clear that this thing being Disney is what was going to drive this product.
Absolutely, like that will absolutely be why people. Let's be very clear.
It's gonna be like Pokemon. No one's ever gonna play, and it's
If
just
this,
gonna be about
if
collecting
this
the characters
were
you like.
no, I did not. If this were some other thing, if this were not licensed, there'd be nowhere near this amount of excitement or hype. We would certainly not be talking about it until Louis discovers it 6 months after release and we have to talk about it in the podcast again. But like, the only reason we all care about this
I caught that. It took me a
is
second.
because of Disney. If this were not Disney, I would not care about it.
Well, yeah, it has outsold every other indie TCG already.
I basically will not take a new TCG.
But it's not
I
an
have
indie
come
TCG.
firmly in the place
It
that I will not take a
100%
new.
is an
Not
indie TCG.
This
It
is not an
indie
indie TCG. This is a mainstream TCG that's in Target.
Would you say
It is in none of those things right now. It is in none of those things. Not even Best Buy.
What did I say? What, George?
Would you say it's a proven commodity?
Sure.
Would you rather have a Mickey than a Lotus?
Oh my God.
Nobody wants a Lotus.
I had to do it. It's on the bingo card. I had to do
do
it.
not want the Mickey. So here's some concerns I have for it. Number one, the box is not being sealed. Number two,
That's a concern.
the statement
Valid.
that they are worried about the demand and they weren't like they undercut the demand. They also like put things on Best Buy website. Like I thought booster boxes were supposed to be LGS exclusive, and now that they were on Best Buy, like from Best Buy pre-order, and like stuff like that just doesn't make. And then they say they're working with their partners carefully. If you like Best Buy, why is Best Buy doing a TCG? That makes no logic.
You can buy packs of
Magic and Pokemon.
Yeah, you can buy
and
packs of
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Magic and packs of
One Piece
Pokemon.
and Weiss.
I don't know about the rest of that. I've seen Magic and Pokemon at Best Buy.
That's fair. Pokemon. But still, like, you're picking your partners carefully. How does that help the growth of the game? Like, the CEO came out and said,
"Wait, how does having your game at places people shop? How is it helping your game?"
I mean,
I have an idea.
Finish your thought.
Like, they advertise the booster boxes to stores as store exclusives, and like, I have no problem with the Illumineers troves being at Best Buy and all those places, but like the like, I just don't understand how that shifted or when that changed.
We don't know how Best Buy got their boxes. Like, that's an important part of this that we don't know.
You think
like,
Best Buy just
they sold out instantly? They might have gone from distribution.
Interesting.
I mean, like, MJ Holdings. Like, the question is, like, does MJ Holdings have boxes? Like, that's the only question that matters.
No, because all three of us don't yet. No, because all three of us don't yet. Like, we don't have. We would be buried in boxes if MJ Holdings had them.
MJ Holdings has boxes. Like, that means, like, it's not LGS exclusive, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So that's the one thing I thought was weird, and then I just think that the pull rates on the Enchanted are too easy. Like, I pulled one per every trove that I opened. So like, you know,
they're 1 in 1.04.
Do not engage.
Like,
no,
1.04%.
One every 8 packs has this like enchanted Mickey card that everyone wants.
I knew. Josh, I can't believe you're doing this.
I thought you were giving serious cogent analysis. No. I mean, your first two problems that you had were just
on the podcast.
Your first two problems you had with the product were just repeating me, so we must be on Kitchen Table TCG. Like, so I followed that perfectly. The pull rates seem fine, and the foils, I find it hard. I've heard the same comment about the foils, but I was pretty open about, like, if every pack has this cold foil, like, none of them are going to be special. The idea that they don't stick out that much, and there's that enchanted rarity that we didn't know about with that special foiling, that gives you a chase in there too. Now, does that chase need to be more frequent, less frequent? I mean, we're gonna find that out based on the size of the community. I don't know, man. This one seems like a massive win, and this is one of those boxes I care much less about the value of the box when I open it, because of just the fun I'm gonna have while I do it.
There's a good experience. Listen, as a store, it was huge. It was everything sold out instantly. And
are you literally flipping through Lorcana cards while I'm talking?
I am. I just like,
okay. Just checking.
I think long term, after the initial shock and once everybody gets packs in hands, some of the issues are going to be, there's so many different rarities. There's like, I think there's 5 or 6 rarities. It's a lot of rarities in a card game.
Not in 2007, 2005 maybe, but like not today. That's not that bad. No, I think it's fine. With, like, listen, we've covered games with secret rares and special alt treatments of like everything. No, man, like, this is, I agree, Louis. I'm with you. I don't think it's perfect, but I think there are certain things that we're being nitpicky about that aren't warranted. Like, again, but I'm openly against the sorcery route of 1 set a year, 1 rare foil per lifetime. Like, that's not something.
Yeah, these are completely different.
Right. Targets. I don't think that path takes you very far in the long run. I think this path is a more proven way. And when you have the Disney IP and you're printing Lion King cards, you don't have to break the mold. You can kind of follow the proven path and lean on the story and the engagement and the fun.
Yeah. And so I think the biggest win of all is the amount of people who had never played a TCG who are coming in to pick up.
I have people with
cards.
Bring their kids.
Yeah. Wizards of the Coast is just salivating.
That is by far the biggest win of this whole thing.
It's just a gateway. It's just bring them all to, let them all hit like middle school and join their magic club and be like, oh, well, here. And you know what? Hometown TCG is going to cover them both. So you guys got a one-stop shop. It's my second game. Now. I wasn't going to do a second game, and I'm so excited.
It makes me so happy.
So excited.
Josh, I'm so happy your second game is doing so well. I want you to know
my daughter's only 10 months old, and I'm just like, here, play with these cards. I don't have the only card she owned up to this point was a foil murder from Magic the Gathering. I had to take that away from her to give her a sorcery card. I'm gonna give her a sorcery card.
So
who's that?
With my 4-year-old, we opened a couple packs, and she didn't know most of it because like she knew some of the Lion King, she knows Mickey, but like most of it she doesn't. She's 4. But the puzzle card in the back, she loved it. She absolutely loved it. She was like, "Oh, let's open more so we get." And then we got 2, but we didn't get all 4. We opened like 6 packs and we got only 2 of them. They had like 3 duplicates. And she was like, let's open more to see if we get, she was excited about that.
Let's get the puzzle card, Dad. You're like,
yeah.
I'm so glad you're focused on the thing that doesn't matter so I can sell all this.
And then she had her stack of like Elsa's and Mickey's and all the things she like.
She's sorting cards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's going to be working at your store before the end of the year.
She was like, this one's mine, Daddy. It's Elsa. And then she's like, you can have this one. It's like all the other characters, Hercules and like, things that she doesn't know.
Hey, cool. Don't downplay Hercules. Hercules is a hero. I
think very successful. I would very, very much caution anybody to not be buying boxes at anything above MSRP.
We agree there. This should be readily available soon.
I go back to what we said at last podcast. Like, these will be under MSRP after Christmas. I think supply and demand before Christmas might keep them above that, but I think like there's just nothing here that keeps the demand, that keeps the excitement for the cards up. The pull rates are not like, there's not that serialized card, the really hard chase.
But hold on. Every second half of these cards that every game should have.
No, I'm saying like
cards.
There's not that here. It's a unlimited release of a card game that has not that much chase in it.
I don't think, again, we're talking 2 different worlds. I think Magic needs stuff like that. Sorcery needs things like that. You just told me your daughter is willing to continue to rip packs to chase after the puzzle card in the back because she likes the Disney pictures. This product is going to do well without that chase. If they overprint this thing to the moon, this is one of those products like Magic Master Sets that lives well on a shelf, right? That Magic fans will go back to a master set and buy a pack here and there because that's a master set. This product lives well on a shelf. People who have never heard of this game 6 months from now will wander through a Target and their kid will pick out a pack out of nowhere, and you have a potential customer.
The next set releases in 90 days.
Yeah, that's huge.
So I don't think that this has to be super limited in its print. If this is below MSRP, that's not doom and gloom for me. This thing goes so wide and there's so many people that might even be a positive. You're reaching more people.
I think the question is where's the floor for a box like this? I think that'll be a really interesting question.
Oh, I don't think there's any way to know, but yeah.
It probably depends on how much they print and do they overcorrect on this, the underprinting on it. But we'll see.
It's almost at $1 million in TCG player sales.
That's crazy.
It's almost at $1 million in TCG player sales. Other indie TCGs that I track, it has triple lapped.
Not an indie TCG.
It has.
It's their first. It's been out for a week.
It's not an indie TCG.
How much funding do you think they had to make the game up front?
They didn't even kickstart.
I don't think it was $4 million.
Mm-mm. You don't think they had $4 million of funding in order to buy the license for a Disney TCG? You think that
you don't? Okay. Wow. I
don't know he's wowing, but I'm going to pretend like I'm on his side for real quick before.
Disney. At most, you can rent it. You can't buy the rights to Mickey. You can rent the rights to Mickey.
Okay, George, do you think Mickey will join our board?
Yes, absolutely.
but the point is, like, $4 million. They certainly had to have more than $4 million to do this. To make this game.
I don't know. I don't know that I'm convinced of that.
That would be an assumption, I guess.
Okay, whatever. Moving on. Like, how you think it's not more why if it was less than $4 million, why doesn't Magic come along and take the Disney IP and pay the $4 million to do the Disney IP? To make a Disney card game or to make a Disney themed Magic set.
Like at $4 million, Magic would be able to do it. So there's probably another rub there, right? It's Disney probably doesn't want themselves.
It's my God.
Yeah, and Magic probably or Disney probably doesn't want themselves represented on a Magic the Gathering product. We just talked about how one of the cards' name is Murder and stuff like that.
Yeah, they want an IP.
Right. There's probably when you're Disney, you want a big piece of the pie because it's yours.
My point is, calling this an indie TCG is silly, in my opinion.
What would you call
not calling this an indie TCG?
Yeah, like
is
what would
wild.
you call this?
It's like I wouldn't call One Piece an indie TCG. Like Bandai is not a independent company.
What would you call it?
Like, am I going crazy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So then, what? Yu-Gi-Oh is an independent TCG?
No. I
don't think.
Why not?
think-
Like, what's the
but-
difference between One Piece and Yu-Gi-Oh?
I
One's
think
been
the
out
phrase.
for 100 years. One's been out for
I think the
100
phrase
minutes.
indie TCG has moved on from independently owned. Yes, the
phrase
dictionary
literally means indie TCG.
I am well aware of the dictionary definition. However, when a culture takes on a phrase, as we have in geekdom and trading card game world, is with indie TCGs, we changed the usage of indie TCG. We have always used it to refer to games that are like new and startup-y and just hitting the market. Like, that's what this is. This is a new, unproven game.
Nope.
Okay.
I disagree. I disagree with that.
Well,
Like,
I'm going to have to... I need a list from you.
An indie rock band stops being an indie rock band when they sell to a company that has the backing of it. The word indie is independently owned.
What?
Yes.
Like, all these TCGs have... most of these TCGs have companies backing them.
Like, by that logic, like, what one does... Like, what's an indie TCG? Like, give me an example of an indie TCG.
Cryptic would be right, because it's just...
Cryptic. It's just
Tanner's game.
Cryptic
Cryptic
But
has several owners. They have a board. They have investors, I believe. Like they have a company.
Cryptic is independently owned by Cryptic. It's not licensed. It's not what Sorcery is owned by the.
So isn't Magic an indie TCG? It's independently owned.
It's owned by Hasbro.
So,
Holy
come on.
moly!
So Pokemon is an indie TCG then.
It's owned
Pokemon's owned by Pokemon Company. Pokemon is an indie TCG. Wow. So Pokemon is the largest indie TCG. You heard it here.
No, but like, before Wizards sold to Hasbro, that was... Magic was an independent TCG. It was an indie TCG. It was owned just by Wizards of the Coast.
Wait, stop. If you're willing to say Pokemon is an indie TCG, I'll give on and move
I don't know enough about the Pokemon, the way that the Pokemon Company is owned. Like, is the Pokemon Company traded? Like, is that publicly
It wouldn't
traded?
matter. It's still owned by a corporation.
I guess that's on me. I've always used indie TCG to mean like startup trading card game hitting the market, new.
No,
Okay. I've used it wrong.
The size.
I'm going to continue to use it wrong.
The size of the backing of Lorcana is massive. It's huge. The amount of people behind it. It's an entire team of. It's Ravensburg. They're working with Disney. It's not independently making decisions. It's not like it's a massive. It's a large scale thing.
You're just saying this is a wonderful word salad, and I have no clue what you're trying to say.
I
scale
was
of
just
it is
misusing it.
bigger. That's the
Yeah.
Okay, but let's say Sorcery or MetaZoo when they started any indie TCG or any
MetaZoo, I would still say that indie.
Any small.
Like, wait, why is MetaZoo an indie TCG?
Hold on. Any small up and coming trading card game that we have covered, if they had $20 million and Wizards of the Coast was consulting on making, for some reason, was a consultant on helping them make the trading card game, their first release is not
independent. You're right.
Okay.
They are no longer independent. Because the word independent means that they are the sole people making the decision.
Okay, so when Aoki became an investor, MetaZoo was no longer an indie TCG.
Maybe by that definition.
Okay, so Pokemon is an indie TCG. MetaZoo is not an indie TCG.
I'm not saying that.
Got it. All right, I got a definition straight. Now it makes total sense to me.
I know that I jack this stuff up sometimes. So I could be using it wrong.
My definition is a lot closer to yours than Pokemon being the indie and MetaZoo being the corporate TCG.
It's a new up and coming TCG.
I agree that Lorcana is a new up and coming TCG.
Okay.
I agree with that statement.
I think it's got
do not agree that it's independent.
That's fine. Of all the new up and coming TCGs that have been released in the last 4 years, this is the first, probably one of only a handful that I've ever felt this much excitement for.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, a lot of people.
It is by far the one I'm most excited for.
Yeah,
it's going to be weird for me to have to say small up and coming TCG for everything we talk about from here on out.
Except for Pokemon.
I can't follow the definition. I don't know it.
Or you could just say indie, as in like independently owned and ran and not owned by a company.
Every one of these is owned by a
but
company.
like a bigger company that's out. Never mind. We're in the weeds on this.
So how big's too big?
Huh?
How big is too big?
3,000 calories. I can answer that for you. I had one on the way home from Buc-ee's. The double meat version of their brisket sandwich, not necessary.
Did you see the Buc-ee's is asking for people to taste test their food?
Yeah.
How are you not doing it? Why are you here?
Already applied.
You better have. I can't.
I had
a better person, better suited to taste test food than you.
On the way to Disney, I had their triple meat sandwich. I gotta say, I might have a new favorite Buc-ee sandwich.
Nice. Okay, so Sorcery.
I can't believe you ate a triple meat sandwich and then walked around Disney for hours. How did you not just sit down?
I prayed for the Lord to take me home. He did not listen. He did not listen to my prayers.
Oh my God.
We're talking again 2 weeks in a row about the market stalling. Do you guys have any other thoughts to say other than what you said last week?
Well, this is a really good up-and-coming small TCG. Not indie, has a company. And those millions of dollars on Kickstarter.
Pretty significant financial and personality backing.
Yep. So,
no, man, I have nothing to say. You're very salty just going into this topic, so I have nothing to say. We can move on to whatever the hell you. We can move on to whatever the hell you want to talk about.
I would love to know what the budget is for Lorcana. What it was for Lorcana.
Salt Bay.
Like I bet you the budget for Lorcana. I don't even know where to start. Massive. Massive. Way more than 4 million.
This is the best. This is the best.
That's why I go with way more than 4 million.
I can't believe people actually want to get sponsored by this podcast. Who is dumb enough to want to have an ad on this nonsense? That person should feel ashamed of themselves. They've clearly never watched this.
There you go. So the Sorcery market stalls. Do you guys have anything else to say?
Well, what's going on with it, Louis?
It's the same thing as last week.
We talked every week. You're the Sorcery master. Josh is the Lorcana master. I need some deets.
I had 3 box openings that were ready to go out for videos this week, and I didn't make thumbnails and post them. They are still on my channel without being posted. So
do you think that's a problem with the market?
Yeah, I stopped.
Do you think that's why it stalled?
No, I think the $1,000 box price, that 1K box price, is a really hard threshold for a lot of people.
Well, it's not there anymore. They've solved that problem.
Yeah, boxes are going like $750. Last week they were like $800. Why are you going? Like that's not the price.
If you want a box for $700, put it on Discord. You'll get 1,000 offers right now.
You will not get 1,000.
You'll get a bunch of offers.
You will not get anywhere.
How many do you think you get?
I have no clue, George.
Buy the box. Put it out there, big guy.
No clue.
Let's do it.
No, singles have slowed down a bit. A bunch. Singles have slowed down, and yeah, boxes are.
So why do you think this is happening?
So I think the 1,000 price point, the 1K price point is a barrier.
Always cursed. It's always cursed.
It's a barrier, man. It's a barrier.
Cursed.
People see $1,000 and they see all the other stuff that they can buy with $1,000, and so then more boxes come to the market. And then
you could buy
like
3+
there's a chunks of people. We talked about this last week. There's a chunk of people opening for singles. Like there's like 3 or 4 active people, myself one of them, who have been opening for singles, and so that drives the price of singles down. And then everybody's waiting for beta. A lot of people would rather spend $400, $500 on a couple more beta boxes than buying.
Beta boxes are like $120, $130 all day long. Right.
Most stores are sold out of their allocations on the 150.
We don't have any allocations yet, so that's amazing.
All stores who had who were
both of those stores.
Nope.
Yours, you
do not. Will you shut up? You don't know what you're talking about. All innkeepers have guaranteed allocation.
That's true. The innkeepers, the 30. I'm sorry, Louis. You're right. Those 38 stores have their guaranteed allocation.
70 stores. Like 70 stores have guaranteed allocation.
Those 38 stores have allocation.
All sold out of what they posted. So I would say like 120, 130, 140 by the time release comes.
Yeah, I mean, like,
so a lot of people rather spend $400, $500 on more boxes than they rather spend on singles because they want to open boxes and crack stuff with beta. So I think people understood that was happening. Listen, I'm all in on lower boxes. Let's go. Like at this point, let's keep them going lower so that I can buy more. Like, I'm not gonna buy when they're dropping like this. But like,
I'll only buy when they're skyrocketing. The Louis DeGeorge story.
Like, I don't know. Like, once the demand picks up back up, I'm in. Like, I'm in. Let's go. So it's good. It's fun. It's still fun to open, fun to look at. I don't know why anybody's surprised. We all thought boxes were going to come down. Like, people wait to see where the boxes go, and then they start listing them. That's what you're seeing right now. So
that's a great. Thank you for sharing.
I told you guys that we talked about this last week, and we didn't need to talk about it this week.
We got to talk about Sorcery every week.
You have contributed nothing.
So, you want to talk about Sorcery every week? We talk about Sorcery every week. I'm with you, buddy. Thank you for sharing.
All right. Anything else?
No, that was great.
Okay. Let's talk about the fourth best TCG.
Not TCG, though. Continue.
The fourth best TCG.
Owned by Bandai, the company.
Mm-hmm. So, ICB2 apostrophe S's top collectible games for the spring. Now, we should say that in the past, this has been pay to play.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Then why are we talking? Like, what? What was the point of this topic?
In the past?
In the past.
We don't know that that's true now.
We don't know if that's true or was true in the past, but that has been the rumor in the past that most times.
Is that true?
Well,
we don't. It's true about the past. We don't know about now.
It's like TCG player. It seems like when things are actually popular, they do articles and they talk about it without being pay to play. But we also know that some games like to.
I love how all of them have publisher on the back talking about the company that prints their cards.
Are you just looking at this graphic for the first time?
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Do you see how Bandai owns multiple games? They own One Piece and Digimon. That
TCGI only owns one game, so Pokemon is definitely an indie. Wizard of the Coast only owns one. Magic is definitely indie.
Does that stand for the Pokemon Company Incorporated? Yes. What a great acronym!
International. I think it's international.
Is that what a great acronym? I love it.
Pokemon is wild. Like, it's wild how their whole thing's set up. We did this in store. What do you think is bigger, Pokemon or Nintendo?
Well, Louis, I guess I'd rather ask you, what do you think is bigger, Pokemon or Magic? Because this article that you're referencing right now has an opinion.
I didn't even see it coming. I did not see that coming, and I don't know how I didn't see that coming.
Spring 2023 with Lorcana, I think Magic is way bigger than any of these. I think the scale is highly tilted in Magic favor.
I'm just saying.
Like,
this article has an opinion.
When you take other people's IP of Lord of the Rings, I think that Magic is way bigger than all these.
Isn't the Pokemon IP bigger than the Lord of the Rings IP?
Yeah, but like the only Magic set, like, this is within a window, Josh.
God, how did I not see this coming? God, I am so mad at myself. That's a good one, Josh.
I'm curious. This settles the debate, right? Like,
this is it. You win. Yeah, you guys win. Pokemon is not as big as Magic. That settles it right there.
Well, is that just the only
the spring of 2023? It settles that right there. The whole debate.
Let's be clear here. Pokemon has never printed more boxes in the spring of 2023. I would bet my life on that. When did they print more boxes than this?
That's fair. So how did we not get One Piece? We always talk about what game will be the fourth best TCG. How did we miss One Piece?
Because we didn't talk about it in this window. We haven't talked about what game would be the fourth best TCG in this window. I don't think we brought that conversation up.
I think fourth best and fourth biggest are necessarily
how do we miss
synonyms?
No, biggest is best. We have always defined like the size of the TCG to be best. I think
we need to evaluate how we miss stuff.
We don't have the one distributor that carries it.
Oh, I do know.
Yeah, but you got it like yesterday. I still don't have it.
Like, so I don't talk about games
I'm not willing to carry.
One of my employees is he's a high school kid, and he is huge into One Piece. And I think we missed it because we're all old.
How dare you?
I think this is a
Very well
good
could be.
like conversation point that like things like that are the next generation. It's gonna be like I think you could see One Piece overtaking Yu-Gi-Oh.
In what time frame?
Oh, I don't know, 15 years. Like what? You don't think that's possible?
I don't think One Piece is a thing in 15 years.
Oh, I disagree. Like the attention to that brand for like the question is, can Bandai keep it up? And like we always talk about that's the real reason why we never talked about One Piece. Wasn't that we couldn't carry it, was that we all think that Bandai sucks and that they kill every game that they touch.
Only because they always have.
Suck and they
Right.
kill every game that they touch.
Like, other than that, though, it's an unfair criticism.
Right. But the point of a brand like One Piece that has the depth of brand, like
Right. So somebody told me, I was actually in Orlando. I had dinner with a friend of mine, and they were like, when do you think Lorcana could reasonably take down Pokemon as number 2? And I said this, and I said this to somebody who loves Disney and loves Lorcana. If Pokemon continues the trajectory they're on for 5 years of like rough, and
just the
Lorcana
last 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Lorcana continues the trajectory that they're on of everything going great for 5
$300
years.
boxes.
For 7 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then maybe you could start to have that conversation. However, the odds of that are roughly 0. Pokemon will right the ship, and Lorcana will eventually have a hiccup.
100%. They won't wrap their boxes.
All of these, I don't know what to call them anymore, small, new TCGs that are not independently owned because they all have corporations, but sometimes we call them indie TCGs. They have no margin for error. None. Like, Lorcana has the largest margin for error because people love the IP. But, like, listen, like, look what happened to Cryptic after Wicked Prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
Look what happened to Genesis after they released the same box after Kickstarter. Like, these, I don't know what to call. I'm going to call them indies. Screw you guys.
Those are indies. Those are independently owned. They are indie TCGs. Lorcana's not.
I think there's I have a deeper issue with something like One Piece.
Like, wait, hold on. But I mean, like, One Piece has been around for 2 years, 3 years.
They're about to have their 5th set.
I mean, like, Louis, like that's nothing. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh's been around for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Yu-Gi-Oh is not. One Piece will not take down Yu-Gi-Oh anytime soon. I'd be very surprised. I'd be much more surprised.
I said in 15 years, so
I would be much more surprised if One Piece was around in 15 years in a meaningful way than I would if they took down Yu-Gi-Oh in 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the recency bias in TCGs is astonishing.
That's her.
Like I said, I think somebody who loves Lorcana. Like, Lorcana is not going to be bigger than Pokemon in
our
a long
lifetime,
time, if ever.
If it lasts that long, yeah.
Like, One Piece is not going to be bigger than Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, and that shouldn't be their goal.
I am shocked by the amount of so when Joey is talking about One Piece, the amount of like when his friends are in the room, how like they all talk about it. They like it is such a for them it's what I felt, it's what I feel about Pokemon. It's what I feel about like the nostalgia towards the characters and the attitude and the whatever for the game. And I think like that's something that's super interesting to see it coming up, and it, you know, the question is, how does Bandai handle it? Like that's always going to be the question. But it's just interesting to see like stuff like that we miss because we're old.
I don't know. I and listen, I'll be the one to say it. I've poo-pooed other TCGs before. I've poo-pooed Magic sets that we thought were popular. This doesn't seem right. And maybe what you said has something to do with it. It's the window. There was a new set release or something right on the cutoff. But trading card games based around anime in recent memory have been flashes in the pan. They've had highs, extreme highs, and then back to normalcy, and then something throws it off track and it's gone. And then not only that, if it's based on an anime that will have an end date, you look at something like the Dragon Ball Z card game I always bring up. Dragon Ball Z card game, the mechanics were great. It was fun. It had a dedicated community, and then the show came to an end. It was like, well, we're going to move on to GT. Well, guess what anime fans don't like to do? They don't like to change storylines and timelines. They're super driven by things like that, and the slightest tweak throws people off. So as far as like One Piece, it's Grand Archive at one point probably could have been on this list. Like there was if you would have taken a snapshot in a given time period, you probably could have caught Grand Archive at a high and slapped it somewhere on this list. And it's I don't know, it doesn't feel real to me. I don't have faith in it, and I don't think I missed. If you're thinking about, what did we miss? How did we not see this coming? I don't think I missed. I think this is if this isn't a flash in the pan, there's something weird going on here.
The difference is you don't hear about Grand Archive in like the lunchroom, like high school lunchroom. Nobody's talking about Grand Archive.
All right. Can I ask you a
Nobody's
question, Louis?
pulling out Grand Archive cards and be like, "Oh, check out these cards from the anime that we watched. Check out the the art and that kind of stuff." And that's what's happening with One Piece.
But if it's all tied to that, that's going to end. That's going to stop. One Piece won't be a story and a show forever, right?
Yeah,
so
I tend to be pretty skeptical of most new small TCGs now. I apologize, but like that position of mine won't change. Like I'll be very surprised if they're around in 15 years.
Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting how Bandai is able to handle it too.
They've never proven to be able to handle it before.
I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if they haven't reached their half-life. If they're not.
I'd be stunned. I'd be stunned if they're big at set 10. Stunned. Stunned. Shout out to My Hero for staying on at number 10, by the way. Are we not going to talk about that? Shout out to them.
How is that even possible?
It shows the difference between the top two and everybody else.
Yeah.
It's staggering.
It's
massive.
It's insane.
I have never
also, what is Icons of the Realms?
I've never heard of it. I've never heard of it.
Aren't those figures?
It's from WizKids, it has to be.
Yeah. I think it's like a figure.
Weiss being number 5, Card Fight being number 7. That's wild.
My Hero Academia TCG.
Holding on, baby.
You
holding on, baby.
Remember when Torch was pumping that?
I'm sorry, what were you saying? I couldn't hear your legions.
I mean, Sorcery or Lorcana both are not on this list, so.
Lorcana will be next time.
I'm pretty sure Lorcana. I'm pretty sure Lorcana slaps itself pretty high up on this list right now.
Before I bet.
Yeah.
You think? Oh, so Yu-Gi-Oh had the 25th anniversary stuff. I don't know if that would have been on. That would have probably been on Spring. Like I think Lorcana could pop over Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, Yu-Gi-Oh's massive.
No, it's not. It's not. Like I don't.
It's the number 3 game. Like it's bigger than
one. I think one store in my area carries Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay, never mind. It's not big in West Virginia. It must not be big anywhere. It's a good call.
I think I've seen Yu-Gi-Oh in.
How many stores carry One Piece in those stores?
Both other stores in my area are running One Piece events.
So then how come they're number 4 and Yu-Gi-Oh's number 3 if way more stores are carrying One Piece?
Well, if you would listen to what I said, that Yu-Gi-Oh had the 25th anniversary set, which was huge in spring. It was big. The big
versus
deal.
One of One Piece's 5 sets came out, I'm guessing.
One Piece probably just had One Piece 4, the 4th set.
I think Yu-Gi-Oh might be another one that we just don't get. Like it just escapes us.
Like Yu-Gi-Oh's big. Like they have like.
They definitely are big. I mean, like, I bet if we compared, there's no real metrics. You're never going to be able to know how many boxes are printed or sold or people. But like, you compare the size of social media groups and like number of events at public stores and things like that. I can't imagine Yu-Gi-Oh is not clear and above everything at number 3. And frankly, I doubt it's close.
But I agree with the difference between 2 and 3 is massive. That's what I'm saying. Like I think Lorcana can pop over Yu-Gi-Oh in the next.
I don't think it pops. I think that's too high. I think it very clearly pops. If we're treating this list as if it were the Bible, then I think it clearly pops over 4. Like that's not close. But
If it's
I
not,
also
your god is
I
dead.
also
Continue.
don't believe that Bandai belongs at number 4. I don't know what metrics are used to pull this together, but that's wild to me.
Yeah. All right. Anything else to talk about?
This was great.
Okay.
Put in
Well,
the
thanks
comment section
everybody for
below.
watching.
Put in the comment section below how you define indie TCG.
That'll be interesting to see how other people define it.
Should have asked for that comment when we were at that spot. That would have been that was the move. We missed that.
Put in two other things. Put in your comment section if Pokemon is your favorite indie TCG, and go become a member of Josh's channel where he will have a full discussion of this and a members only video that he posts on Friday.
That's not happening.
You just gotta. It's all right.
That's
it's a
not
TCG thing.
All right,
Nobody
everyone,
expects you
thanks
to
for
follow through on
watching.
your promises. Just tell them it's a Kickstarter thing. They wouldn't get it.
If you made it this far, I'm sorry. I would say we'll do better next time, but historically...
You will. I won't be here next week.
Oh, next time will be much better. All right, everyone. Have yourselves a great day. Be kind to the people around you, and may the zoo be with you.
And also with you, my favorite indie TCG comic.